Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving into a genuinely heavy-hitting, super timely analysis by Ronald Jasmin. It's called Living in Christian Community, Breaking the Isolation. We're going to look at this fascinating, almost uncomfortable premise. The idea that modern faith, it simply cannot survive in a vacuum, period. Living in a Christian community isn't just about showing up to a building once a week, grabbing a coffee, and leaving. It's about this active, intentional entanglement of lives, burdens, and missions. So if you've ever felt disconnected, totally burnt out, or like your faith has kind of devolved into just another solo routine, well, buckle up. This analysis is going to completely challenge how you view your relationship with the people around you. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We've got 5 stops. 1, the solo Christian myth. 2, mission requires a community. 3, Hebrews on staying together. 4, 5 lessons for true fellowship. And 5, your community action plan. So we're basically moving from the heavy reality of modern isolation right into the scriptural foundation and finishing up with a really strong practical assignment you can actually use this week.
Starting off with Section 1, the solo Christian myth, the heavy reality.
Jasmin starts us off with a pretty massive wake-up call, arguing that Christians today are more isolated than ever before. So I want you to honestly ask yourself right now, are you a Lone Ranger Christian? It's literally so easy in our hyper-individualized world to think faith is just about me, my Bible, and Jesus. We absolutely prize independence. But Jasmin points out that this exact mindset, that's what leads to spiritual burnout. It leads to emotional fragility and this deep, lingering sense of distance from both God and the church. We literally weren't built to carry the weight alone. And the author does a brilliant job breaking this down. Look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have individualism. It's solo, it's isolated, it's totally consumer-driven, constantly asking, hey, what can I get out of this? But true biblical community, that is a corporate mission. It's highly intentional, and it keeps us fiercely connected. Look, we so often try to replace the messy reality of genuine fellowship with, a slick podcast or a polished online sermon. Why? Because it's convenient, it's safe. But here's the thing. Convenience rarely leads to growth. You simply cannot replace the raw, honest friction of real face-to-face relationships with a screen. No way.
Which brings us to Section 2, mission requires a community, looking specifically at Matthew 28.
Let's lay down the textual foundation for this whole mindset shift. Matthew 28, the Great Commission. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. Jasmin emphasizes something absolutely crucial about Jesus' final earthly instructions. That command to go and make disciples, it's a plural, team mission. Jesus wasn't handing out a solo assignment to one super apostle. He was speaking directly to a community, basically saying, you guys need to work together to spread this. It takes a collective to fulfill a collective calling. In fact, here's the author's modern translation of that command. You have a mission. Go make disciples, baptize them into community, and teach them to obey. The hard truth Jasmin pulls from this is pretty undeniable. You just cannot fulfill this corporate mission if you aren't actively embedded in a community yourself. Think about it. You can't disciple someone from arm's length, and you certainly can't teach them obedience if you aren't walking the walk right alongside them, letting them actually see your own struggles and victories.
Moving right along to Section 3, Hebrews on staying together, the call to community.
So the book of Hebrews, specifically chapter 10, directly addresses discouraged believers. People who are tired, worn down, and severely tempted to just throw their hands up and ghost everyone. Sound familiar? It's a very modern problem, but actually, it has ancient roots. Listen to this crucial warning from Hebrews 10:25. Not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Jasmin's analysis is so sharp here. Even back in the first century, people were bailing on community. And his point is, skipping the gathering doesn't just hurt you, it leaves the entire body totally vulnerable. It's like a scattered flock. When you drift away, yeah, you're easier to pick off, but you also leave the rest of the group exposed without your specific presence and protection.
So the translation here is simple but profound. Don't isolate. You need community, especially as things get harder. What's super interesting about this analysis is how it highlights the inseparable nature of our faith. Hebrews tells us to draw near to God and then immediately says to spur one another on. Drawing near to God vertically and staying connected to his people horizontally, they're a package deal. You really can't have one without the other. As the world gets tougher, Jasmin argues you need community more, not less. Isolation is literally the enemy of endurance.
All right, section 4, 5 lessons for true fellowship, moving from consumer to contributor.
So how do we actually pull this off? Jasmin outlines 5 life-changing lessons designed to snap us out of passive consumerism and turn us into active contributors. Here they are. 1. Mission requires community. 2. God and people connect. 3. Hold on together. 4. Skipping hurts the body. And 5. Encouragement is an assignment. These are the crucial mind shifts you need to make to go from a lone ranger to a vital part of the body. Let's break a few of the biggest ones down.
This quote absolutely nails the first 2 lessons. Iron sharpens iron, but you can't sharpen iron if you're not rubbing up against other believers. Like we said earlier, your vertical relationship with God absolutely demands proximity to His people. You can't claim to love God while keeping His people at arm's length. It's just a non-starter. Real growth requires friction, and friction requires closeness. You need people who know you well enough to actually call you out and challenge you.
Now for the third lesson, Jasmin reminds us that a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Look, struggling believers shouldn't be white-knuckling their faith in total silence. If you're doubting, if you're wavering, the enemy's ultimate strategy is to get you alone. But in a healthy community, you hold the rope together. When your grip slips, someone else's grip tightens. You have to let the community carry you when you're weak. Actually, scratch that. It's not a weakness to let them carry you. That vulnerability is a profound strength.
And here's the really hard truth for lesson 4. When you skip church, you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting the body. Ouch, right? We all make excuses. We say we're too busy, or we kind of rationalize, oh, I'll just watch the stream from the couch today. But your presence, your unique gifts, your specific ability to encourage, the rest of the congregation desperately needs those things to survive. Your absence genuinely weakens the team. You owe it to them to show up.
Which brings us to lesson 5. Encouragement is your assignment. True fellowship isn't about what you can extract from a Sunday service. It's entirely about what you give. Community is not a spectator sport where you just sit in the stands waiting to be served. No, you are on the field. You're there to speak life, to pray for people, and to actively spur them on. Let's bring it home with section 5, your community action plan, the assignment.
We are definitely not leaving you with just abstract theory today. Understanding is great, but application is what actually moves the needle. So here's Jasmin's no excuses action plan for this week. 5 steps. 1. Get connected. Join a group, initiate a text, whatever it takes. 2. Go deeper. Move way past the polite small talk and have a real conversation. 3. Confess your struggles so people can actually help you. 4. Commit. Stop making excuses and prioritize showing up. And 5. Encourage.
I want to really zoom in on that final step for your specific assignment today. Intentionally encourage 3 people this week. Be specific. Speak life. Don't just give a generic, hey, have a great week. Send a thoughtful text, or honestly, even better, write a handwritten note. Tell them exactly what you see God doing in their life. Remind them of their value. That kind of intentionality, that's the literal glue that builds deep, unbreakable fellowship. We're going to wrap up this explainer with a really provocative question straight from the text, and I want you to sit with this. Will you stop consuming and start contributing? You are a totally vital part of the body, and you were never, ever meant to walk this road alone. It is time to bring your presence, your gifts, and your messy, honest self back to your community. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.